तर यावरचा आम्ही पळयलें की सोशल मिडियाचेर जो बोवाळ चल्लेलो आसा गोंयच्या टुरिजमा बद्दल की गोंय एक्सपेन्सिव्ह जावन आसा और गोंयच्या टुरिजमाक अनेक कंप्लेनी देखून तांच्यांनी केली. अशें कित्या खातीर जाता की ते कंप्लेन देखून गोंयचीच करता आनी हांगाच येवन एन्जॉयमेंट देखून करता.
Any negative news on Goa is like welcome news. Goa suffers from being the most popular destination in India. Good that it woken up us on some of our faults and we'll see how we work on it. Because सांगू तुम्ही दुसरे कोण ॲप नाका तुम्ही सांगा कसले ॲप्स आहे आणि बसून ते ॲप करूंक जाय. The taxi drivers just are not ready to come on board for any app. And whatever their reasons are, I mean, it's best that they explain it.
आम्ही आता रिसेंट वर्सांनी पळयता की फॉरेन टुरिस्ट आसा तांचो नंबर कमी जायत गेल्लो आसा. सो अशें कित्या खातीर जालें आसतलें?
Domestic tourists mushroom in such a big way that the foreigners eventually look less and less. And after COVID, what happened was that the foreigners started looking at destinations which had more value for them. The foreign market has not recovered all over India. That's why it's less in Goa as well. Of course, there's a negative side of tourism. No one denies it. You use land, you use resources. The local and the tourists will compete for the same resource. So then over tourism जाताना problems जातात ते ना म्हणना.
वेडिंग्स हाका देखून टुरिजम क्षेत्रान हाडपाक जाय एज कन्सर्ट इकॉनॉमी म्हणून तांच्यांनी एक वर्ड डेव्हलप केला. हो वेडिंग आणि इव्हेंट्स आमी गोंयान कशे इम्प्लिमेंट करपाक शकता गोंयच्या टुरिजमान?
Prime Minister Modi, why is he so keen to promote tourism? Why is the budget so tourism centric? Because the ability to create jobs, to see that money actually reaches the people who need it is the highest, I think, in tourism.
नमस्कार येवकार. तर आयच्या या कार्यावळीन भेट घेता जे स्वताच गोंयच्या टुरिजमान वावरलेले आसा आणि त्यांच्यानी ह्या वर्सा जे कितें घडलेले आसा गोंयच्या टुरिजमान ते देखून पळयल्ले आसा. तर भेट घेता TTAGचे प्रेसिडेंट जॅक सुखिजा हांची. नमस्कार सर. तर आम्ही पळयतात की तुम्ही वावरलेले आसा गोंयच्या टुरिजमान. तर ह्या वर्सा आम्ही पळयलें की सोशल मिडियाचेर जो बोवाळ चल्लेलो आसा गोंयच्या टुरिजमा बद्दल की गोंय एक्सपेन्सिव्ह जावन आसा और गोंयच्या टुरिजमाक अनेक कंप्लेनी देखून तांच्यांनी केली. तर हे कित्या खातीर अशें कित्या खातीर जाता की ते कंप्लेन देखून गोंयचीच करता आनी हांगाच येवन एन्जॉयमेंट देखून करता. सो हे कित्या खातीर जाल्लें आसा?
एक ती गोष्ट हांव कितें म्हणटलो की गोवा सफर्स फ्रॉम बीइंग द मोस्ट पॉप्युलर डेस्टिनेशन इन इंडिया. लायक यू नो इट इज everyone wants to come here, everyone in India wants to come here, and any negative news on Goa is like welcome news. So whenever some influencers see that their thing is falling or their profile is not growing, then they go into doing this. But having said that, some of the qualitative facts they pointed out, ते खरे आहा ते एकदम ते पयलीं साकून आहा. आमी एक टॅक्सीचेर धरतू आतां टॅक्सी तुवें पयल्यार खूंय वर्ल्डान गेलो तूं तुका टॅक्नॉलॉजी मेवता ट्रान्सपोर्टान तुका एपार घेवन बुकींग करूंक जाता. पीपल आर यूज टू इट. गोंयान येवन मेवना टायम लागता रेट शुअर ना इट क्रिएट्स अ कस्टमर डिसोनन्स. मागीर दुसरी गोश्ट की आमचे क्लेनलीनस जे आहा ते compared to Southeast Asian nations, it's not as clean as the others. So qualitative facts that they have raised are correct, but why this assault took place right now is something that we have to look at. But it's good that they've woken up us on some of our faults, and we'll see how we work on it.
ओके. सो हे जे कंप्लेंट्स केल्ली आसा तर हो सोशल मिडिया म्हटलो की सगळ्यात मोठो इन्फ्लुएन्स जाता. सो हे सगळे जाता त्याच्या खातीर गोंयान गोंयच्या टुरिजमाक कितें अफेक्ट जाल्ले आसा ह्या वर्सा देखून?
तर हे असॉल्ट ते सोशल मिडियाचेर व्हायरल गेले नोव्हेंबर साकून स्टार्ट जाले. सध्या अजून पासून कांय इफेक्ट ना पूण फुडें वयता तेन्ना इफेक्ट जातले. एंड दॅट इज कपल्ड विथ द फॅक्ट दॅट साऊथ ईस्ट एशियन कंट्रीज आर aggressively targeting Indian customers. So unless we come up and correct things, some of the qualitative things they mentioned, then in the long run there will be an effect. But right now there's no effect. In the medium term, Goan tourism is doing decently well.
ओके. सो आमी हो प्रॉब्लेम सॉल्व करपा खातीर आनी कितें करपाक शकता? जशें की तुमी टॅक्सीच्या बद्दल उलयले. आमी पूर्ण देशान पळयता की ॲप बेस्ड टॅक्सी सगळ्या जाग्यार आसा. तर गोंयान ॲप बेस्ड टॅक्सी आसची अशें तुमकां दिसता?
तर एक गव्हर्मेंटान थोडे they tried a little bit प्रयत्न केले. they started with Goa Miles, they came with Goa Taxi app. पण कितें आहा ते तेंचे रीच एकदम पावूंक ना फुडें. आनी what is basically needed is an app which can be accessed anywhere. Today we operate through this old system of taxi stands in hotels. So the taxi stand has a monopoly of a particular hotel. Say I'm an X hotel in say Welsound, or say I'm an X hotel in Anjuna. I can only book out of that hotel using that taxi from that taxi stand. So that is a major issue. कितें ते टॅक्सी ड्रायव्हरचे थोडे ओला उबराचेर वॅलीड पॉयंट आसूं पूण हें न्हू की ते ॲप टेक्नॉलॉजीच्या फाटी सरूंक सोदना. आमी आतां हॉटेलार आहा, आमी सगळे booking.com रेजिस्टर आहा, मेक माय ट्रीप आहा, सगळे टेक्नॉलॉजी इज द वे द वर्ल्ड इज गोईंग एंड यू कॅनॉट स्टे बिहायंड ऑन इट.
ओके, सो आमी हे कशें हाडपाक शकता गोंयान?
म्हाका दिसता गव्हर्मेंट सगळे बसून कंटिन्युअस हे मिटिंग्स करूंक जाय टॅक्सीवाल्यांचे बारा. तांकां सांगूंक जाय तुमी तुमी दुसरे कोण ॲप नाका, तुमी सांगा कसले ॲप्स जाय आनी बसून ते ॲप करूंक जाय. ते चलोवंक सोदता तांकां चलोवंक दी. पूण बेसिकली आमी कितें मागता, टॅक्नॉलॉजी आसल्यार तुका ट्रान्सपेरन्सी मेळटा प्रायसिंगान. ती एक स्टार्ट जावन दी, लोकांक शिकोवंक दी खंय ऑपरेट जाता, आनी मागीर पळोवया फुडें खंय वचपाचें. सो गव्हर्मेंट, स्टेक होल्डर्स, टॅक्सी युनियन सगळे वांगडा बसून हे this has to be continuous, rigorous meeting time after time. All politicians have to, for the sake of the economy now, they have to say that, okay, we will solve this problem rather than taking sides and, just skirting the issue.
तुम्ही जशें की म्हटलें की स्वताचो ॲप डेव्हलप करपाचो. ओला उबर हे ॲप्स आसा ते ऑलरेडी आसा, सो ते कित्याक वापरान येना? त्यांचो वापर कित्याक नाका?
ना तर हें म्हाजें पर्सनल ओपिनियन आहा न्हू. आतां तुमी पळय सगल्याक ई कॉमर्स मार्केट प्लेसीस जे जाता, फ्लिपकार्ट, एमेझॉन, booking.com, they tend towards oligopoly. म्हणजे कितें, 1 or 2 players control the entire market. Now Goan taxi drivers, one valid point which I think they have is that if Ola, Uber come, then they will control them in a way that they'll be totally dependent on them. So to counter this, also in Bangalore they came up with this app called Nama Yatri. Our own government developed it through the ONDC. It was hived off to someone and it works superbly. What happens? The driver pays an upfront fee per day, and after that a small commission. All the earnings are the drivers. With Ola, Uber, I think sometimes with the surge pricing, the commission is very, very high and it becomes difficult for a driver to sustain. So I'm not saying you do your own app. You can also import the app from outside. Like Nama Yatri has gone to other places with other names and they've given their technology. So if this is a service which is being developed on a community basis, we should look at it. It's like Microsoft having a monopoly in Windows many years back. You had no choice, and then Linux came as a free software. I'm not sure you will be aware of it. It's maybe a 15-year or 20-year-old story. So Linux was open source. It developed. It had a very robust operating system. So my personal opinion is this is a in-between solution. Let us give it a shot, and then hopefully the taxi drivers come on board, because right now the taxi drivers just are not ready to come on board for any app. And whatever their reasons are, I mean, it's best that they explain it.
ओके, टुरिझम म्हटले की वेडिंग दरा, इव्हेंट्स दरा हो एक इम्पॉर्टंट भाग धरलेलो आसा. हाल्ली प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदीन देखून हाचेर स्टेटमेंट केल्लो आसा की वेडिंग्स हाका देखून टुरिझम क्षेत्रान हाडपाक जाय एज कन्सर्ट इकॉनॉमी म्हणून तांच्यांनी एक वर्ड डेव्हलप केला. सो तुमकां कितें दिसता की हो वेडिंग आनी इव्हेंट्स आमी गोंयान कशे इम्प्लिमेंट करपाक शकता गोंयच्या टुरिझमान?
This I think is a huge opportunity for Goa. कोविडान तुवें पळयलें नाल्यार आनी खंय पळयलें, after COVID, weddings and celebrations were big in Goa, especially beach weddings. आतां एक ब्रायन एडम्स कॉन्सर्ट जालो, तो सोल्ड आउट, असलो रिस्पॉन्स खूब आसले. सो वी नीड टू फोकस ऑन दिस, फॉर विच वी नीड अ वर्ल्ड क्लास कन्वेंशन सेंटर. आता बजेटान अनाउन्स केला की 50 top tourist destinations in India will be developed. Financing will be given by the center. States have to identify land. So we should use this opportunity to have a venue for events, including concerts, and also a world-class convention center.
बिफोर गोईंग टू फॉरेन टुरिस्ट, तुमच्याकडे एक स्टोरी जाणून घेवपाक सोदता की नॉर्थ गोंयचो टुरिझम बेल्ट कसो डेव्हलप जालो?
So it's a very interesting story how Goa was discovered. आता the Vietnam War चलताले America in I think late 60s. And there was this anti-war movement which came up, which was basically flower power and the hippies. And they all started looking for love, peace, and they thought they'll go to East. So because of that, the two destinations from that which developed were Kathmandu was their summer capital, because it was nice and cold. And Goa was on that trail, became their winter capital. So they would come here in the season from November to March. And all these beaches, Kalangut became very popular, Kolwa became popular, Anjuna. So they basically were the original tourists who put Goa on the world map. And they developed their own subculture. Even the flea markets which come up today, which Goa is famous for night markets, came from a hippie culture. We have our own music type of trance music called Goa trance. So these guys are the ones who actually put Goa on the map. And the other big event which took place in Goa was in '74. The then Chief Minister Bhausaheb Bandodkar had an offer from the Taj Group to set up a hotel in Goa. And they identified land in Aguada, and the Taj Hotel came there. But what really took the Taj Hotel to another level was something called the Chogam meet in Goa in 1983, wherein the Commonwealth, Chogam is Commonwealth Head of Government's meeting, and Margaret Thatcher, who was one of the most powerful prime ministers of Britain, got all the Commonwealth nations. Commonwealth nations are nations who are part of the British colonial empire, including India, Pakistan, and Kenya, as well as the white ones such as Australia, New Zealand. And they all came and they stayed at the Taj. For that, lot of infrastructure was developed. You had the Chogam Road, which is off Porvorim, going all the way to Kalangut and Kandoli. So from these two events, tourism really took off in North Goa. And you also had in '89 certain this charter flights. What was a charter flight? A guest flew in only for a summer holiday. The European was to find the winter cold, so he was the middle class way of life was in summer. In winter, they went for a summer. They went for a break, and Goa developed as a destination for them, and specific charter flights started coming.
ओके, पण आम्ही आता रिसेंट वर्सांनी पळयता की फॉरेन टुरिस्ट आसा तांचो नंबर कमी जायत गेल्लो आसा. सो अशें कित्या खातीर जालें आसतलें?
So the trends, the original पहिले ते टुरिस्ट येयले ते जर्मन टुरिस्ट आसले पयले चार्टरार. कॉन्डोर म्हूण चार्टर आसलो, स्विस येयले, स्कॅन्डिनेवियन टुरिस्ट येयले, आनी ब्रिटीशूय येयले. Over the years, the Germans were very fussy about cleanliness, and as our tourism developed rapidly, our cleanliness did not keep up. So eventually, they started pulling out. Then the Russians came in between, and the Russians have a thing that when the Russians come, a lot of other markets don't come. So from 2005, as the Indian economy liberalized, say 2004, 2005, where you had that first big boom, a lot of Indians started discovering Goa. So you had Dil Chata Hai, which was shot in Goa. We had this Goa 24 days, 365 days on a holiday campaign. Goa was India's happy place. So the domestic tourists mushroom in such a big way that the foreigners eventually looked less and less. And after COVID, what happened was that the foreigners started looking at destinations which had more value for them. In Southeast Asia or Sri Lanka started attracting them in a number of ways. Like Sri Lanka has free visa on arrival. So do a lot of Southeast Asian things. So the foreign market has not recovered all over India. That's why it's less in Goa as well. But it still exists.
हो लेस जालो टुरिझम आसा, फॉरेन टुरिझम हो गोंयच्या टुरिझमाक अफेक्ट करता?
In one way it does, because when a destination develops, it's very important that you have international tourists, because one is they stay longer, they get in foreign exchange into the country, and they use a lot of services which maybe a domestic tourist on a 2 3 day holiday won't use. They'll use local guides, they'll go for local experience. So I think when a foreign tourist is there, a lot of the income percolates to all the sectors of the economy, which domestic tourists, because it is a short stay, Goa is normally a short stay, may not necessarily do. Will be hotels, will be nightclub, will be a good restaurant, and maybe not much more. So foreign tourists, I think, are important. One is it's a diversified market. You show that you cater to a lot of markets, as well as the earnings are of a different quality in terms of foreign exchange.
ओके, सो आम्ही वो ट्रेंड कसो रिवर्स करपाक शकता, वो चॅलेंज कसो फेस करपाक शकता?
So the influencers, they are these are points we already know, which we are talking. They've raised a couple of important points. One is they म्हणटा Goa is approach roads to Puila. Rather to I pass to come here, I pass the World Heritage Site of Old Goa. Just off Old Goa, you see plastic strewn everywhere. Now we have an agency which looks after waste on the beach, but waste elsewhere we see. I mean, we are no longer as clean as we used to be. You go to fields and all, you see encroachments, horrible construction. So that spoils the visual aesthetic. So we have to try a way to address this. I think cleanliness, transport, transport for foreign tourists is not such a big issue. It is an issue, and mainly this overdevelopment which is happening in pockets with no systems in place, a lot of touts chasing people. Those are issues that we need to address. If we handle this, then I think the foreign market will gradually revive. And of course, we have to be value for money, which the market forces will see that we correct and be.
ओके. या वर्सा युनियन बजेट या वर्साचो बजेट आसा तितून मेडिकल टुरिझमाक देखून इम्पॉर्टन्स दिल्लो आसा. हिल
Heal in
हिल
India.
इन इंडिया. सो तुमी कशें पळयता की मेडिकल टुरिझम हो गोंयान कसो इम्प्लिमेंट जावपाक शकता?
So
कारण 20 crores एलोकेट केल्ले आसा या सेक्टराक.
20 crore खूब आनीक आसतले तो फिगर पूण चेक
Yeah.
करूंक पडटले. So heal, when you say heal, it need not necessarily be that you have an ailment and you come for a curative thing. It might be mental peace. You might want to come to an area in nature, relax, do yoga. And I think that is where Goa has a big advantage. Yoga on the beach is already happening in a lot of places. So we have to look at promoting that. Next to Mopa Airport, there's a huge Ayurvedic training center and Ayurvedic hospital. We have to see how we can leverage those treatment styles. I mean, Kerala has already positioned itself as an Ayurveda destination, but we can always be a supplement. So, plus, there are, I think, dental tourism used to be a very big thing in Goa till I think 10, 15 years back. Many Britishers ruled. When they used to come on a holiday, they used to get the entire dental package done. There were a number of dentists who used to advertise their services. They had got Western European qualifications. So we have to look at that also. And then there are your normal hospitals where for normal procedure, your cost, what you would spend here and the service you would get, I think is still 1/5 or 1/4 of what you would spend in Europe.
केरलाचे तुम्ही उलयले. सो केरला अशें आसा की त्यांचो जो नेटीव थिंग आसा लायक केरलाज बॅक वॉटर. सो तेंच्यांनी तो टुरिझमान इन्क्लूड केल्लो आसा. सो गोंयान गोंयचे अशें कितें नेटीव आसा जे टुरिझमान आमी इन्क्लूड करपाक शकता?
Goa basically developed as a beach destination. All our beautiful beaches is what sun, sea, sand was what Goa developed, and that is still our USP. We have Marani Goshti area. We have the World Heritage Sites of old Goa. We have a lot of beautiful heritage homes, architecture which is unique in Goa. Your churches, your temples. So सगळे unique experiences. I mean, mold केल्यार opportunity we have the forest. We have a small state with the forest on one side and the sea on the other side. So basically, all these natural resources are there. Plus, Goa has that vibe. It has something where everyone finds it unique anywhere you go. Maybe it's not it's Susegaz. No, when you say Susegaz, I don't mean lazy. A lot of people think it's lazy. But I mean it's joy the way to live life well and enjoy yourself. So that is Goa's unique selling point. And a lot of writers before us to describe Goa as India's happy place. It's the place you go wherein you want to find yourself, just be happy. And I think Goa still has that.
सो TTAG तर्फे तुम्ही गोंयच्या टुरिझमाक कितें मेसेज दिवपाक सोदता? गोंयच्या लोकांक कितें मेसेज दिवपाक सोदता?
टुरिझमाक लागून गोंयान खूब इकॉनॉमिक प्रगती जाल्या. तूं आर्थीक प्रगती पळयल्यार आय थिंक वी आर द हायस्ट पर कॅपिटा इनकम एंड inequality levels are the lowest. And this is largely the multiply effect that tourism has had. Now, if you take even Prime Minister Modi, why is he so keen to promote tourism? Why is the budget so tourism centric? Because the ability to create jobs, to see that money actually reaches the people who need it, is the highest, I think, in tourism. So Goa has been lucky in that way. Of course, there's a negative side of tourism. No one denies it. You use land, you use resources. The local and the tourist will compete for the same resource. He'll compete for the same electricity, the water. He'll compete for the roads. So then over tourism जाताना problems जातात ते ना म्हणणं, and the tourist comes to have a good time while you're going through your normal daily time. So sometimes there are issues, but we have to see how we can find a way to blend all of this and see that the benefits that tourism has given the state do not get frittered away, and we work together in a way that society benefits as well as the tourist enjoys coming here.
फुडल्या पावल्यार तुमकां विचारपाक सोदता की TTAGचो कितें रोल आसतलो गोवाचो टुरिझम शेप करपाक?
So आमचे TTAG as a club, as an organization started in 1977. सध्या आमच्या बरात 400 ऑड मेंबर आहात आणि वी represent 1200-1300 businesses. Like I'll have 4-5 small businesses, many others will have. So what we do basically is we look and see policy. We act as an interface between government and industry to see what policies will benefit the industry and what steps should be taken to improve it. We also try and wherever there are negative things which come on Goa tourism, we try and present the true picture. So our basic aim will be to continue to work on the same lines. See that tourism is done in such a way that both the people of Goa develop and are happy with it, and the industry is happy, as well as the government earns tax revenue.
थँक्यू सो मच. तर ह्या आशिल्ले आमच्या वांगडा TTAGचे प्रेसिडेंट सर जॅक सुखीजा. तर सुंदररित्या त्यांच्यानी गोयच्या टुरिझमाक एक्सप्लेन केल्लो आसा. तर अशीच कार्यावळी खातीर पळयत रावात गोवन नॅरेटिव्ह.